Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going over the Trundle A-Sol deck I've been working on for quite a little while. I hope you guys enjoy. So, I wanted to talk about the deck. I do have a recorded game here that I'm going to be talking about while I play. I did make a lot of misplays this game, so that's why I'm using it. Didn't save the game recording. Sorry about that. Something I'll fix in the future. Um, Hopefully my voice isn't too boring, but I do want to talk about this matchup, what I did, and also a pretty good tip for understanding how to learn about decks that you're playing and how to play them better. So if you notice in the mulligan, we kept nothing except Avalanche. Now, Avalanche in this matchup is going to be one of our key cards, killing most of the board, and you'll see that come into play a little bit in the future. Spacey Sketcher is going to be an amazing card for basically any deck that's playing Targon. It allows you to get rid of a bad card in your hand and trade it for at least a decent early play. That it's going to always have an impact on the game. And as you can see, we got rid of Troll Ravager, which in this aggro-based matchup is going to be a more clunky play. We really rely on it. It has a great body, which is decent for aggro matches, but by turn 4, you want to be wiping the board with the card like Avalanche, which is why a lot of decks don't play Troll Ravager and why I'm considering dropping it to a 2-drop. That is an example of cutting a card to, I would make my a matchup against aggro better if I wasn't drawing Troll Ravagers here. If I had drawn basically anything else, a heal spell, a creature that's cheaper, like another Kindly Tavern Keeper, or a first in this case, but you get the idea. If we had a different card, we would be better, and that's part of deck building as a process. You want to be getting rid of cards that aren't always good, are going to be good in some matchups, right? Troll Ravager's great in the mid-range matchup, but we already have Trundle, so having that, another Trundle isn't as good, right? It isn't that great. So what you would rather simply have Trundle and maybe 1 or 2 Troll Ravagers and something that helps you in the aggro matchup, which Trundle doesn't help you in. Now, I made a mistake here, probably with blocking with the what do you call that? The 0/4, because I just shouldn't have done that because of the way it works. It would survive the Avalanche. I could have blocked the 3/2 with another creature, and the 1/1 from the Hapless wouldn't have mattered that much, right? And so that was a mistake on my part. Here I made an interesting play, choosing to play the Sketcher over playing Avalanche, which might have been a misplay. I should have used the Sketcher as a chump blocker after playing it, and clearly my opponent knew what I was doing, so I should have played Sketcher after that. A minor detail that does end up costing the game at least a turn earlier, if you think about it. That Avalanche was probably low value for what I could have played it for. It was the highest value I was getting. If you'll notice, I have a very weak hand. If I had Kindly Tavern Keeper, I would have won this game. So the Troll Ravager thought process there is what I'm thinking. Now, we just drew Icequake, which could be a potential way for us to come back. Now, I make a weird play here. Really weird. I choose to play Hush, making it so that his 2/2 doesn't come back to life after I block with it, sacrificing my 2/1. Meaning I can't make another play this turn. He has 5 mana, which for his deck is basically full mana. And I don't even get a chance to react with it at least this turn until next turn. And I wasted Hush, one of my most valuable cards, which would have taken out both his 3/3s and made him 1/1s in one turn. And so that was probably a huge misplay. We played Trundle, attempting to reclaim the board. He was really the only play besides Icequake. But if you looked, we actually had enough mana for Icequake. And so it was a huge mistake to play Trundle here. Because now I don't have enough mana for Icequake this turn, and I would have wiped his board completely. He would have been forced to, or else he would have done 4 damage to me, which is taking me down to 9. Playing Icequake there was huge. Icequake is meant for these matchups where we can't deal with our opponent's board. Here he open attacks and he has lethal on me during the open attack. So being able to do math is important, but also knowing timing. I didn't need to play Trundle. I didn't need to play aggressively because I'm a slow deck. One more turn and I would have won the game. One more turn. If I had wiped his board, he would have had no cards in hand. That one play, I mean, I could have done anything else. I could have played literally, I made a lot of mistakes during that game, right? But that one play ruined the game for me. So that's something you got to think about when playing a deck like this. A slow deck, at least, is know when you want to slow play. I needed to slow play a lot that game, and I wasn't. I wasn't mulliganing for the healing hands. I had Troll Ravager, which was a weak card in that scenario. So if you want to think about the deck building process, Troll Ravager should be removed here. And Crystalist Aeons and some other of the mana ramping cards don't seem to fit well in that aggro scenario. They work better for the mid-range scenario, which is huge, which is why we play Avalanche. 3 copies of Avalanche, 3 copies of Icequake, should be 3 copies of Kindly Tavern Keeper. Those cards are so powerful in those matchups. And so this is the point I'm trying to get across, is cards like... You want your deck to be flexible, which is why Hush is in the deck. It's great against basically everything right now. Icequake is good in a lot of mid-range and almost every single aggro matchup. So understanding the metagame here, where we have a lot of cheap, Targon. Sorry. When we have a lot of cheap Targon cards in the meta, where that can be killed by a card like Icequake, and when we're playing against a lot of Leona decks, a lot of A-Sol companion decks, we want to be thinking about how can we beat all those matchups, and that's where a card, like Solari Priestess comes in handy. She can give us the Sisters, which are healing and elusive. She can give us the Obliterate card, which can kill A-Sol. She can give us a lot of good cards, and that's why she's so good in the meta. She's a chump blocker against aggro, against mid-range. She can just be a good chump blocker. She's a Daybreak activator for Leona if you choose to play her. She gets you a Celestial card for A-Sol, and most importantly, she gives you options. And that's part of the deck building process, and I hope I'm getting that across to you. When playing a deck, you have to understand whether or not you want to play fast or slow, and whether or not you can play fast and slow. Here, with playing A-Sol Trundle, there's literally nothing in the meta that's slower than you right now, except Ezreal. And to think about that, you have 1 copy of Hush, you have a lot of healing, you can survive Ezreal sometimes, which is great because it means sometimes you can play slower than Ezreal, but in certain hand states, you're going to want to play faster than Ezreal, which is really weird. It's going to feel weird, but most of the time you're playing to play the slow game, which is why we're playing 3 copies of Star Shaping, the great healing card, the great draw card. Star Shaping gives you a finisher on a healing card. Like, there's not a more perfect card for a control deck. Healing 5, Targon has a lot of healing, right? Combined with Freljord's mana ramp, you're going to be playing really slow, and so you have to make sure you do that. In this case, I was playing so fast. Like, I was taking plays that I shouldn't have. I shouldn't have played the Dock. I shouldn't have even played the Sketcher. I should have saved up mana for Avalanche. Knowing I had another Avalanche and Icequake, I should have taken maybe a less valuable Avalanche, here, in order to keep myself from taking a crap ton of damage. And also, knowing I had Icequake means I can survive a Nocturne turn, but I can't survive against elusives. Right? Is in specific matchup. You need to play slow. When playing 3 Icequakes, 3 Avalanches, you want to play slow, right? Most decks are playing Leona. And to think about that, Icequake does a really good job against that matchup. And so, I know I've been rambling, but the main point I want to get across is think about deck building. I'm not playing Tarkaz in this deck. The 5-mana 5/8 that basically does what Misfortune does. Because he doesn't do enough. Especially, he's just another Trundle. And the same can be said for Troll Ravager, just another Trundle. When you go up against aggressive decks, or even Ezreal decks, that card won't matter at all. You need more healing, you need more early game stuff, and so notice when you're playing it. And by the way, you should only be playing one deck ever. You should only be playing one deck, and you should really just be focusing on that one deck. And a lot of the time, you're going to notice things about the deck and you're going to want to make changes. I should be making a ton of changes. Oh, and by the way, that was a misplay. I should have avalanched on my turn. Just a misplay there. Because it took me down 6 health, and that's a ton of damage. I can't be taking that much. But the thing to think about is timing and when cards can be played. The Avalanche can be played pretty early, which is why it's so strong. And kind of Tavern Keeper can be played early. Troll Ravager is a turn too late, which is huge in the burn matchup. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed. I've been talking a lot. I hope I got across the fact that when looking at deck building, you want to know what you're aiming for. And I'll do more videos on this and concepts like this. And so I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.